Elvira. I never was as surprised. You noticed Brother Sparks couldn't keep his eyes off Alvina at the dinner table last night. I don't think he ever knew he's eating that tough old rooster, and Alvina giggled at everything he said. She told me he asked to walk her home after the meeting again, and if I approved. I want to stay home tidy up the kitchen, so I told her all right. Well, I heard 'em come in. I heard the porch swing creaking, so they must have sat on the porch a spell. She's sleeping late this morning. I won't get a report she gets up. She sure perked up since that revival started. You know, Ruby dropped in on the way to the post office and said she hadn't seen Alvina there, and yet she goes every time the mail comes in. Now, ain't that a mystery? She couldn't miss seeing her. I believe there's something fishy about her whereabouts. She'll let the cat out of the bag sooner or later, though. I just don't want her character tarnished. That'd send Uncle Cyrus to his grave. Oh, he'd be glad to see a good match, but he'd miss her awful bad. No, he never seemed to care about another woman after Aunt Parthenia passed on to her reward. Oh, yes, there's been several tried. Yeah, he's got money. He used to run a grocery store down there in Leesburg. And you know he's a deacon in the Methodist Church. Well, maybe he's been a bit too strict with Alvina. She's never been allowed to stay out after 10 o'clock at night, and usually her Aunt Retha goes with her if she's out after dark. I just hope she don't sidestep while she's here. Surely people won't talk as long as it's preacher. Yeah. Here she comes. I'll call you back. Goodbye. Hello, Elvira. I know it's early to call you, and I hate to get you up, but I just had to tell you, Abner Sparks and Alvina are courting heavy. He brought her home again, and she told me the whole story. Well, she's been meeting him in the graveyard back of the church every morning instead of going to the post office. You know that tall tombstone with the angel on it? I think it's on the Dink Percy lot. Well, there's a bench there out of sight of everything, and that's where they've been meeting. She looks so happy, Elvira. They do make a charming couple. Well, she thinks he could pop the question any time. Says he calls her his pot of gold at the foot of the rainbow. Ain't that just too romantic? I never dreamed her visit would end in a love affair, and hopefully at last a husband. Oh, Uncle Cyrus will be so pleased. I just hope if it comes to that, he'll be able to come give her away. Well, for sure, I aim to tell him to double up on the Geritol, and even a bit of Mogan David wine won't hurt him. Just one thing I worry about. Brother Sparks is looking to be called back to Africa as a missionary. You know, that's where he was for 30 years. Well, he's just on leave now. Oh, he could be in his late 60s, hard to say. He wears a toupee, I think. Yeah, it's got me on edge. I know Elvira can count on you and Henry, I'm sure of that. Well, I appreciate it, and Alvina will too. Go on, I'll call you back. I want to call Ruby and tell her. Goodbye. Hello, Elvira. I'm so happy for Alvina. I just wanted to call you first so you'd know. Abner and her are going to marry as soon as all arrangements can be made. Yeah, right there in the graveyard. She sat in the shadow of that tall angel tombstone. Said while he's asking her for her hand, there's 2 doves a-setting and cooing on the angel's head. I didn't want to tell her, but I knew there's just 2 old pigeons from Tom Bentley's barn. Yeah, she's going to call Uncle Cyrus tonight, after the meeting at the church. We'll call her Aunt Retha first, so she'll be over at Uncle Cyrus's place. Shock might be too much for him. We don't want him alone. Well, it's early to make plans, but she did say she wants you to help and make her wedding dress if you will. Well, we hope Flora D will come from Leesburg with Uncle Cyrus, and she'll be one, maybe the maid of honor. We'd like for you and Henry to make any suggestions. Yeah, I guess I'll ask Cormac whether she'll sing in the garden. It was in the graveyard, though, where it happened. Yeah, Ruby'll won't take part. I think I'll ask her to give a lingerie shower for Alvina. She'll want some of those see-through underwear and nightgowns like the brides wear. It'll be hot when they get back to Africa, where he still has to go. Oh, 2 more years, I think. Yeah, get ready early, for they won't announce it tonight before the service. I won't say what Alvina does when she gets excited, but you know what I mean. I just hope she makes it through when they all walk by to congratulate him. I'd just be embarrassed beyond words, and her so big, everybody know what happened. I'm proud, Alvina. She never gave up. Let me know what you decide about the dress. Oh, I'd say 14 yards anyhow, wouldn't you? Well, come on over. We'll have a little bit of dandelion wine. Yeah, I want to call Ruby. Then she can tell anybody she wants to. Okay, goodbye. Hello, Elvira. Are you real busy? I'd like you to come over and give me a hand. I want you to help me to measure and see how much lace I need for Alvina's drawers. Well, I'd like for her to have real silk ones. I had some crepe de chine up in the old cedar chest in the attic. I'd had it since me and Luke was married. Yeah, it's old, but I rinsed it out in weak vinegar water and laid it on the grass, and it came out real white. It's kind of traditional, Elvira. I made my wedding drawers off of this same piece. And if you have your Aunt Martha Corrine's drawers pattern, bring them too. I think she's about the same size. No, all I have's a yardstick. Bring your tape measure. Well, I thought they ought to have ruffles on the legs and then put lace on the ruffles. I know it'd take a lot of lace, but I feel like she's waited a long time to be a bride. Yes, we'll have to have something heavy enough to hold her to stand on so as we can measure her legs. You know what? We'll go out in the backyard and let her stand on that stump of the old sycamore tree. Oh, nobody can see us back there. I'll hang a sheet on the clothesline. That'll hide the stump. Well, you tell Henry to stay away from that back window, or send him on home. On second thought, it might get him interested enough to pop the question. Now, you hush, Elvira. This is a sacred fire. You don't know everything. Come on over.